the deaths occurred during armed confrontations in which force was used in response to an imminent threat, in accordance with the rules of engagement repeatedly articulated by President Duterte, namely that lethal force was permissible only where life was in danger. Across the Count 2 incidents, there exist contemporaneous documents, whether it be arrest warrants, operational records, or firearms recovery reports, all of which reflect legitimate police operations that escalated into exchanges of gunfire. The general record does not substantiate a theory of wanton execution, yet the prosecution seeks to rely, once again, on the testimony of criminals spilling their hearts with a tacit understanding that they will never be prosecuted. In 4 of the 5 incidents, contemporaneous reports document the recovery of firearms at the scene, indicating that the weapons were used against police and prompting a responsive use of force. In incidents 12, 13, and 14, the operations were authorized by judicially issued search warrants. We have diagrams on the screen being shown. I'm not going to stop. They will be presented throughout my presentation continuously, all in an attempt to save time. Those circumstances are squarely within operational legality and fundamentally incompatible with a pre-planned murder. Incident 14 is particularly instructive. 4 individuals were arrested alive. To us, that demonstrates selective and not indiscriminate use of force. In incidents 10, 13, and 14, gunpowder residue was detected on the victim's hands. At a minimum, that forensic finding is consistent with an exchange of gunfire and not consistent with a straightforward execution narrative. And the prosecution and the victim's representatives simply can't have their cake and eat it. They can't say in one breath that drugs and guns were planted on victims and therefore dispute crime scene evidence, while at the same time complaining about the lack of crime scene evidence. Yet the prosecution virtually disregards these objective and forensic indicators in favor of narrow and often uncorroborated insider testimony. This is best illustrated in Incident 10, which rests almost entirely on P1160's assertion that a firearm was planted at the scene of the crime, and the official report fabricated. Yet P1160 expressly accepts that he did not witness the planting of the firearm and merely assumes that it must have happened, before conceding that the firearm may already have been present. Once again, we are in the realm of inadmissible conjecture. We know that an investigation followed that incident. The opening of an inquiry is not consistent with the intention to conceal wrongdoing. Beyond that, as I've just mentioned, the record reflects the detection of gunpowder residue on victims' hands in this particular incident, a forensic indicator consistent with an exchange of gunfire and inconsistent with the witness's testimony, which is notably, once again, uncorroborated. Incident 11. This is the sole incident in Count 2 where direct linkage to Mr. Duterte is advanced. And this linkage rests entirely on voice recognition by an individual who claims to have overheard a telephone conversation and recognized the president's voice while being physically moved from one location to another. The alleged recipient of the telephone call himself was never interviewed, and another person present, on whom the prosecution relies for corroboration, did not hear the conversation. After all, would it not have been an item of interest to all those present in that specific location that the President of the Republic himself had condescended to discuss matters of such a criminal nature by way of telephone?